All right, everybody. Hey, happy Wednesday night. I don't even earlier today it felt totally like Wednesday, and then today this evening all of a sudden I'm like, oh, it's Thursday. Well, we didn't get to have 2 days in one day, even though it feels like it in some ways. Um, don't let me forget, I want to talk about win day. Okay. But anyway, so I am super excited that we are here. We may have people that jump on late, or some people that watch it a recording, which is totally fine and dandy. And but we just hope that we are reaching you in some way, shape, or form. So y'all know my way of starting today is we start with our gratefuls. um, we're going to start with the positives, because even if your day has taken a little south turn for some reason or another, the fact that we had snow this morning and it snowed again not even 30 minutes ago, we're going to find something to be grateful for in the last 24 hours. All right, you may have more that you want to add. One of the things I wrote down that I was grateful for is that I've had no side effects from this second shot, and I had side effects from the first one. So yesterday, after I got the shot and I was at work, I was like, I will not have any side effects. I will not. And last night when I got, well, after I got off work, if y'all don't know, I work at the YMCA on Tuesday nights and just one night a week. But anyway, I went and did my upper body workout. I was trying to get that arm going, and then before I went to bed, not a medical claim of any way, shape, or form, but I put a recharge DFT right there, right there, and woke up with very little soreness. That my armpit was great. Last time I could barely put deodorant on. It hurt so bad. but so that is one of the things I am most and extremely grateful for, because I have not had time for any of that. Let's do our I ams. And one of the things I was just looking at and reading about um, is, we all talk about how we have to armor up in the morning and that kind of thing. And that's why we listen to things that are positive in our ear. We may watch something whenever we're getting ready in the mornings and that kind of a deal. And that's why affirmations are so important, not only morning, but in the evening as well. And I was reading something in a book, and I'm going to share that with y'all here in a second, but it said, drown yourself in affirmations. If that's what it's going to take. And you've got, uh, it irritates you to have to go to the grocery store or whatever. Drown yourself in those affirmations that keep you happy and positive as you're going through the grocery store, especially if they don't have enough checkout lanes or whatever. But just drown yourself. Figure out which affirmations you need to hear the most and repeat them all day long in your head, in the car, while you're walking down the street pretending to be on the phone, or under your breath in line at the DMV. That one cracked me up. So let's drown ourselves in our affirmations. We're going to come back to this topic here in just a little bit. So don't let me forget that. Okay, y'all. You'd never know I take Expand daily. Okay, I've written 5 down. I could write probably 25. I have a list of the ones that I typically read to myself every single morning. And then in my IM app, it even has a spot where it drops down and it reminds you to write an affirmation, and it gives you a prompt. Write an affirmation about da 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 da. And so that prompts you to kind of think a little bit deeper, maybe into some of your affirmations that you're doing. All right, so we're going to go on and we're going to do, today is the 21st of the month. Yesterday was an auto ship day. Um, and I'm going to be real and raw with y'all. My auto ships yesterday were very small, very small. That's okay. April 25th is bigger. May 5th is huge, huge. We're going to get into that here in just a second. All right, so I want you to log into your cloud office. I always am logged in ahead of time, and then in a matter of seconds, it kicks me out every single time. All right, we're going to go to our cloud office, and you're going to scroll down, and you're going to go to your business snapshot, and you're going to look at your current QV. Okay, I got to scroll past all the trackers and that kind of stuff. What is your current QV? I want you to take that amount. I always have to write it down. And we're going to divide it by 21 because today is the 21st of the month. Okay, you should have come up with a smaller number. I always have to write that number down too, so I don't forget. That's your daily average that you and your team have been bringing in customer and promoter orders each day based on today's numbers. Take that smaller number, since it's your average, we're now going to multiply it by 30 because there's 30 days this month. And that's going to give you a nice larger number that gives you an estimation of what your rate of run is and where you will end up the month on the 30th. Now, if you're watching this on replay or you're watching it right now and you're going to be leaving for Thriveapalooza, you know that those last couple of days of the month are going to be really crazy and hectic for you. You may have something else going on that means it's going to be crazy and hectic. So your number, if it's a little lower, then you're going to want to be busting your booty here in this next week and having some things done and taken care of, possibly like before Wednesday, the 28th. A reminder is if you also have waiting room in your cloud office, waiting room is when you've had a promoter pack order and it's sitting over there and you can move it strategically and it can help someone hit a rank. You always want to check with your upline before you move anything that's in your waiting room, because once you've moved it, it is a permanent move. And even with my upline's help, there have been moves that we have made that we're like, oh, now, several years down the road, we're looking at it and it's like, it's kicked me in the butt. And you just kind of have to go with what you've got at the time. But the point is for waiting room volume, it has to be done by a certain time. And that's based on your last number of your promoter number. I've got a good old 0. That means I have to have my stuff done by like 8 a.m. people. Yeah, tell me about it. So I always do mine the day before. Otherwise, I will forget and I don't even have an opportunity to move any volume. If you're wondering why they do it that way, for those of us that have been around the block a time or two, we used to crash the cloud trying to move waiting room volume on the last day of the month because everybody was trying to do it at the same time. So they had to come up with a way that wasn't going to crash the cloud every single time. All right, now we mentioned that we have auto ships coming up on the 25th, which is Sunday. Okay. More than likely, you have already checked to see who your auto ships are, but in the event you have not, you're going to stay in your cloud. You're going to go to your, you're going to go to My Team, hit that button, go all the way down to My Customers, scroll across until you see the column that says Next Auto Ship. Double click it, and it will give you a list of who has an auto ship coming up. 2, 4, 6, 8. I have 7 for the 5th of May. I'm going to make sure that I'm writing those names down because I know the end of the month is going to come quicker than I realize. And I want to make sure that I have already been touching base with these people before we even get anywhere close to the 5th. So I'm taking a look at my 25th, folks. April the 25th. Okay, I've got 2. Now, I know for a fact I have one over underneath Charlie because I have that name written down on this calendar, and the other 2 names are under me. So if you are working a second account for your husband or your significant other, what have you, make sure that you're logging in and checking the customers on both of those so that one of them doesn't end up biting you in the behind because you did not get a chance to message them. Please do not wait until the night before to message them. You should be having live conversations with them. Oh my gosh, I love the pictures from da 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 da. I can't believe y'all actually were able to make a snowman this morning with the snow that we had. I left our neighborhood at 9:30 this morning. Somebody had already built a humongous snowman with 1.5 inches of snow. I'm like, you know what? More power to you. I thrive, but I ain't getting out making a snowman that early in the morning. Not doing it. And right now, y'all, that snowman's about the only thing that is still standing because there's no more snow. So you've got those people. When you're having those real conversations with them, they may be telling you, hey, life has been crazy. It's been so stressful. We had to put so-and-so in the hospital, da, 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 da. Take a look at what they're ordering, what they've got coming. Oh, I see that you've got the Premium Lifestyle DFT. With all of the stress that you're going through, would you be open to changing it to the black or white label? That's got extra B12 for energy, and it's got the little mood component that helps with when things are stressful and so forth. So you can make recommendations. I've been doing my messaging and asking folks, how did you like your strawberry lifestyle mix? Are you ready to change and try a different flavor, or do you want to stick with your strawberry? We have 5 other flavors to choose from. And as far as I'm concerned, we've only got 2 flavors to choose from, vanilla and chocolate for me. But so that's where you make it personal for them. Sonia's sitting up there in the corner. She loves apple pie. Oh, no, not an apple pie girl. Olivia likes it. But anyway, so that's where you can tailor make it to them. And when you're making those recommendations, they're like, oh my gosh, she actually knows what I ordered. She remembers. And they think you're just remembering off the top of your hat. But if you actually look at what their order was, it gives you all that info. I have a lady whose mom ordered capsules only. For her mom, that's all she can typically do. I sent a message, hey, how's your mom doing on the capsules right now? And she's like, she's doing great. Thanks for asking. It took 2 seconds out of my day. So that's the extra piece of customer service. And then let's see. Okay. So you've got that. Make sure you notify them about the auto ship, because I'm going to tell y'all, I actually had to purchase product and give the woman money back. It came out of her account before she expected it. This is about a month and a half ago. And even though I know to do this, I missed one. She's on a fixed income. And I felt so bad. I said, hey, when the caps, when it comes, don't worry about it. You just keep those capsules. Those are yours. So I ended up eating all of that because I gave her the money to cover it, and I didn't ask for anything in return. So it's all right. It's all right. I did the right thing. So even though when we know that we're supposed to do those things, sometimes it bites us. Okay. One of the things I wanted to do, and I'm not sure if Facebook is going to actually let us do it anymore. Ah, yes, they are. I wanted to talk about stories for a second. And in Facebook, and I don't know, could be because, oh my gosh, we had an update. When you have an update, one thing changes that you liked and it's not even there anymore. But y'all may have this on your phone. So when I go into my Facebook and I've just got my screen like this where I can see that I can add a story and I can see people's, it used to actually have a little word underneath that says see all. And I don't know if y'all have that or if mine has just disappeared, but you could click see all, scroll. Yeah, you can scroll, but it would scroll them all up like this. Oh, let's see. Yeah. Sonia, unmute for a second.
If you kind of scroll, then it'll say show more
Okay.
underneath.
Okay. Do you have an iPhone or an Android?
iPhone, and then they pop up like this. I don't know if you.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it should say show more under.
Okay.
You start scrolling.
Yeah, and it used to do that for me, and for some reason today it's not, just right whenever I want it to. So when you hold your phone back up for a minute for me, Sonia, with them like that, it is so much easier to flip through your stories and see who you want to comment on what they've got going on. And that's easier for me than to scroll all the way across and just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Okay. So I like that version that Sonia just showed us. This is where you can get a lot of your custom conscious comments done just by seeing what's going on in people's stories. And I can get mine knocked out. I can get 10 knocked out in no time when I'm looking at them like this. Okay. You know, there are a lot of people in my stories that are thrivers. They are, if you're following a bunch of thrivers, but they're not on your team, it's time to like just either unfollow them or whatever, but they should be based within your team. Otherwise, you're going to be seeing nothing but thrivers posts. And that's where your algorithm can slow you down. Okay. So wanted to show you that. And then I also wanted you to, if you are posting stories, we talked about this in one of our team Zooms last week. You can go to your, and I don't know who all has Instagram. Sonia or Tammy, do you guys post in your Instagram stories very often? Okay. You can take your story from Instagram, and when you share it, it will automatically share to Facebook. Okay. The one thing I don't share automatically is a poll, because I want to make sure that people can vote on it. And if I share it automatically, they can vote on it in Instagram stories, but they can't vote on it over in Facebook. Once it has popped up on my Instagram, I can click on it in my little stories, and then it will give me the option to share it to Facebook, and I choose to do that. Okay. So like this one, I mean, it's already shared, but I could click my Facebook right there and it would automatically upload it and share it over to Facebook. That's how I do my polls. Okay. Now, I am not the best at looking to see who has looked at my stories. I usually do, typically if they give me a heart, a like, or whatever, and then I'll look and I'll make a comment, or if they make a comment, I'll make a comment back to them. That's a custom conscious comment. But you can actually take a look. I'm just over in Instagram right now. I'm taking a look and it shows you the number of people that have seen each of your stories. Like the first one was 71, then 63, 48, 44. It's dropping off a little bit. They're my Thrive stories. Okay. But I'm looking to see who has hung in there and watched all three. Ah, there's a girl who I know I have talked Thrive with before, and she hung in there until the third one. So I'm going to send her a message. Hey, thank you so much for watching my story. You know, and I know Lisa Wallace Cook had given a message that she did, you know, thanks for showing my story some love. And it was one that she and I kind of created together and so forth. Would you be open to, let me find that in my notes section and I have way too many notes and I am working on putting them into folders. Okay, yeah, I had it right there and now I don't have it. Just a second. I'll give y'all the wording. Thanks for showing my stories some love. I've got 2 sample packs available. This is what Lisa did, and I have done this and it works. I've got 2 sample packs available. Would you like for me to put one in your name on one? If not, no big deal. I wanted to give you the chance before these get gone. I have been using that type of wording as well as some of the wording that we got from our training on that Saturday. And that's why I have had samples flying out the door. But one of the things we know is key with samples is getting their email address, smart sampling, and putting them in a 3-way chat group. Okay. My PPA is up because of these samples, and that's what has made a huge difference. If you find that your followers in Instagram, and this is where I spend a little bit of time, but I don't spend a lot of time. Otherwise, I'm going to end up just scrolling, and I want to work harder, I want to work smarter, not harder. So when you are in Instagram and you may have just a few followers, if you go to Instagram and you want to find some more, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to my name. Hang on. Okay, I'm going to go to my little magnifying glass and I'm going to search up here. I'm going to search a hashtag. So let's think of like a, a popular hashtag that's going on. Okay, well, people are hashtag sun. Let's just do that one, sun. There's 255 million posts about sun. Okay. So I typed in hashtag sun and it gives me this: follow, top, or recent. Click recent. And now I'm not going to type on the chick in the skimpy bikini. Okay. I'm going to find a couple of other pictures that I'm going to comment and go, wow, what a gorgeous photo of the sunrise, whatever. Once you start showing some more love on some of the other people's photos, whether you're following them or not, you're going to start finding them following you. I would do this with maybe 3 hashtags a day. That's it. 2 hashtags, 3 folks. 3 hashtags, a couple of folks, something like that. And so what it does is it changes up your algorithm. And so that was one thing that I did not always do, but I read that that is something that will really be key for you. Today I used a hashtag WINDAY, WINDAY. Now it's not supposed to be like windy. Now there's only 5,000 posts with that, but that's okay. I can go click recent. And it's a lot of people with some positive quotes and things like that. So today I'm going to move on to our topic that Sonia and I were talking about just a little bit before we started recording. So you may have a ton of books on your bookshelf that you read, or that you are, that are the personal development and that kind of thing that you want towards for your business and so on. I got to looking at the books that are on my bookshelf, and I realized they all typically tend to have one genre, telling me that I don't suck. Basically is what they're all about. Trying, making sure that I've got myself boosted, seeking God's heart for your direct sales business and things like that. And so I realized, I don't necessarily have to keep reading the books right now telling me, hey, guess what? You don't suck. I need to branch and I need to move on. Now I've got a book on my shelf that I started reading it, and it's been 2 years since I started reading it, but it's not one I really was able to get into. Maybe it was just because it wasn't my time, but I opened it up just a little bit right before our Zoom, and I was like, oh, hey, it's got some good stuff in here. Maybe I'm ready now for this book. It's the You're a Badass. I've had this book on my shelf for 2 years. So now I need to go from a lot of the books that I've got, getting out of your head, Miracle Morning. Okay, I know what to do in my Miracle Morning and that kind of thing. I need to branch out. And which one, Tammy, the Badass book? You can unmute, Tammy. And so.
Yeah, it's the Badass book. I love that thing.
Okay, awesome. And Tammy, do you find yourself with, like, you've got kind of the same typical type books on your shelf, and you're kind of having to push yourself to get different books?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm not the only one. Yay. What did you find that you tend to have the most type of books on your shelf?
Like you, the ones that say I don't suck.
Okay, now which ones do you have that push you beyond the suck?
I actually that badass one is the one that has kicked me in the butt. So
Okay, well, I put a DFT where I stopped. There's my bookmarker. So I'm going to be finishing this book. My husband is out of town tonight, and so I'm going to finish this book, and I'm going to work on reading it and try to get through it. I have seen another book. There's been other books I've seen that leaders are reading, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I could read that. I'm like, yeah, I can. There's no reason why I can't. But this goes along, Sonia, with what we're fixing to have you mention. The devil will get into our brain and make us think that we suck. So that's why we need those books. Okay. Now, at the beginning of our journey, in our Thrive journey, we needed that affirmation and so forth. But now we're ready to move beyond some of that. But the last 24, 36 hours, I mean, you talk about digging at me big time. And I have been fighting it off. I mean, I'm doing the affirmations like crazy, like I'm at the DMV to keep me from having a hissy fit, that kind of a thing. But Sonia, I want you to unmute and I want you to talk about the book that you have and that you just had quit. You just had quit.
It's 100 Days of Believing Bigger, and it's a devotional. So she talks a little bit here. She gives you scripture. She talks a little bit about it. And then there's a question here and a prayer at the end. Just a short little prayer that you say. But it kind of went along with our small group called Freedom and living out of the tree of good and evil, or living out of the tree of life, and how we need to forgive people. And just along those lines, or, letting go of things that God can't do what he needs to do with us if we don't let go. So tonight in this, and I hadn't opened it up in probably a week or so, probably 2 weeks. And it talks about hoarding and how it says we can even hoard unforgiveness, regret, and cynicism. Hoarding is just another way we hold on to the old ways of thinking, living, and finding significance. And then whatever we hold on to the most has a hold on us. So that, like she said, that's kind of Satan getting in our head, not letting us forgive or move on from past hurts or whatever.
And so it almost sounds like, and here's where I'm like, oh my gosh, it's time for the three of us and people who may be watching this on recording to branch beyond the books you have on your bookshelf. Okay. John Maxwell has these smaller books about leading. I have 2 of them. There's like 5 of them. They're super cheap on Amazon. This one is What Successful People Know About Leadership. But right now, my team is in a growth mode. So I need to be reading books that have to do with some of those things. And so I'm at a different place now in the type of books that I need to be reading. And so that's where I'm going to be sending some messages to some of the leaders going, hey, this is the kind of book I'm looking for. What book do you recommend? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, I have a list of 20 some odd books that I've been given before, but some of them are not the right ones for this time frame. And so that's why whenever I was on that leadership retreat back in November, and we were talking about how, somebody may recommend a book to you and then they're like, oh my gosh, it's the best book ever. And then you start reading it and you're like, what's the deal with this book? Well, it was because they needed that book right at that time, which y'all have heard me talk about Andy Andrews and The Bottom of the Pool. That was the book I needed at that time. It may not be your time to read it just yet, but there's going to be a time where you're going to pick that book up. You're going to go, oh my word, this is the best book ever, And so I truly believe that you are meant to read certain books at certain times. Like I've had this book on my shelf for 2 years. It's time for me to read it. it is time for me to read it. And Tammy, I'm gonna challenge all of us that take a look at the books that are on your bookshelf. Next week, when we meet back here again on Wednesday, I would love to know what is a new book that you've gotten, whether you're listening to it on audio or whatever, that's pushing you out of the nest, that's kind of moving you from that whole, oh my gosh, affirmations about I suck to that next step. And that's how we grow as leaders and so forth. So I am super excited about that revelation. I just wish I would have had that revelation about 2 years ago, that's the kind of, all I have on myself. So here's the last thing I'm going to leave y'all with. You get to choose how you perceive your reality. So why, when it comes to perceiving yourself, and would you choose to see anything other than a huge rock star of a creature? So hello, y'all, we are rock stars, and it's not going to matter who says one thing negative, Nancy. We got negative Nancy's all the time. Oh, I did thrive. It made my uterus hurt. What? No. We're not going to listen to that crap, because we know that Thrive works. We know there are so many people that need this product, and that's why we still keep sharing. And that's why, y'all, we are the amazing rock stars that we are. You're a badass. You're loved. You are perfect. So don't forget that. And now we're going to move ourselves from the books of, pulling ourselves up by the bootstraps and running to the next level. Do you hear that? Level. Yeah, we're going to be running to the next level. So anyway, that was something that I had on my mind and my heart tonight, along with some of the calendar things and helping y'all with a little bit of Instagram ideas and so forth. And if there's something that you are like, oh my gosh, Sandra, I need help with such and such, send me a message through Messenger, and I will add that into one of the topics that I do on Wednesday nights, in addition to the calendar things that we're doing. And but anyway, I hope that everybody has a great rest of the week. We're going to go finish this week off like a badass. Oh, one thing I wanted to say, I have like 7 people for May the 5th. I have a goal that I want to meet for myself by the end of this month. Doesn't have anything to do with 12K. Doesn't have anything to do with Puerto Vallarta, because I've already got both of those. It is a different goal. So I've got a promo I'm running that doesn't even have anything to do with Lavelle. I mean, it does, but it's not from them. It's from me. And so I am contacting some of those folks that have that April or that May 5th auto ship and saying, hey, I have this promo and I thought this might be something that you were interested in. Do you want the details? We'll see. But I am super, super close to this goal. And y'all, it is going to knock your socks off when I achieve it. And by golly, I got a week and 2 days. I'm going to do it. So anyway, I'll see y'all next Wednesday. Bye. Love y'all.